So it's C, D, E, and F. Feel free to click. Okay? Stephanie?
Good evening to those of you who are here in person and to those of you who are joining us live stream. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin with the agenda items, we would like to take note of a very significant event that occurred in our community this past weekend. As many of you know, there was a tragic fire that occurred this weekend, total loss of the building. However, fortunately, there were no fatalities and none of the residents of the Rhode Eye Arms were injured. There was one firefighter who was treated for smoke inhalation or dehydration, but thankfully no one was injured otherwise, and there was no loss of life. While you hope that something like this will never happen in your community, we are so grateful to see the way everything unfolded. We are so, our hearts go out to the residents of the apartment building and to those in the homes along Rhode Eye Road who were also affected. But it was really wonderful to see that frankly, everything worked very well. Our first responders, our Department of Public Works, so much the county helped, our neighboring fire departments helped. We got the call, we were notified on council about 4:45 in the morning throughout the weekend. All of those, us on council, we stayed in contact. In fact, we met and we made an informational video that will be going out. In the meantime, many folks are wondering how they can help, what they can do. The reality is these are, maybe to some folks this is a news story, but to those of us here in Penn Hills, these are our neighbors. If you are interested in contributions or wondering how you can help, our video will go up at some point, but for now, you may go to the Western Pennsylvania Search and Rescue Development Center, which is located at 1405 Fry Road, F-R-E-Y, or you can go to info@operationtakemehome.org, or you may call the municipal building at 412-342-1088. Again, that's 412-342-1088. We are trying to streamline because so many people in the community so wonderfully want to reach out and help, and so that we're trying to streamline so there will be one drop-off location, one donation location, and one location for information. And again, thank you so much for everybody in the community who has reached out, and thank you so much to everyone who has helped. I don't want to list right now because I'm sure I'll miss someone, and I would not intentionally miss any organization or individual who so graciously helped. But it's at times like this that we realize no matter how huge Penn Hills is, and we are very, very large, we're so big we say we've got close to 30 neighborhoods and more than one zip code. This is a very, very small hometown feel, and we don't all live in the same house, but we all call Penn Hills home. And it was really a beautiful outpouring this weekend. Having said that, we'll move to the agenda items. So this is the first meeting of the new year with the new administration, and it is also my distinct pleasure, along with council, to announce our brand-new Chief of Police, Ronald Como. He's with us tonight. I'd like to ask council to join with me in congratulating our new chief, Ron Como. Once again, Chief Como, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Present.
Councilor Fascio,
Present.
Councilman Getzey,
Present.
Councilor Sapp,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Pecora.
Present.
All present.
Make a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Sapp.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey,
Yes.
Councilor Sapp,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Minutes approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item number 5, approval of expenditures?
Mayor Calabrese, I'll make a motion for approval of expenditures.
Thank you. May I get a second?
A second.
Thank you. Any public comment? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilman Getzey,
Yes.
Councilor Sapp,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
expenditures approved. Next on the agenda is the section dedicated to public comment on non-agenda items for those individuals that have signed up at least a week in advance to speak to a non-agenda item. In the order in which they have signed up, I will call them to the podium. When you get to the podium, if you could please state your name and address for the record. First to sign up for comment on non-agenda items is Mr. Paul Dorrell. If you are present, please come to the podium. Not hearing him in the audience, I will move to the second speaker, Kina James. If you're in the audience, if you could please approach the podium. Yeah, that's fine. And just state your full name and address for the record. And also keep in mind, this portion of public comment is limited to 3 minutes.
Yes, hi, my name's Kina James. I'm the coalition organizer for the Alliance for Police Accountability. So that's who I'm representing today.
Your
We
address,
work for
please.
the county.
Your address, please.
It's 841 California Avenue, 15212. Floor 3. And I know that
Are you a Penn Hills resident or taxpayer?
I am not, but we represent Penn Hills residents. Well, we represent residents around the county. So I attend all council meetings. May I continue?
Just, excuse me for one moment. So what the policy and procedure is that you need to be a Penn Hills resident. I'm not so sure that that was clarified for you. So I would like to, so what I would like, excuse me, order please. If I could finish,
Okay, look, hold on. The Sunshine Law talks about who can speak and who can't speak, and it's residents and taxpayers.
if I could finish my sentence,
Excuse me. Let's let the mayor, let's hear what she has to say. Let her speak for a second, and then you can have a turn. Mayor.
thank you. In case it wasn't clear to you, what the policy is that you have to be a resident of Penn Hills. However, since it appears it was not clear to you, what I'm going to do is take a vote from council so that we can say that we can, whether or not we're going to let you speak. In the future, we need to make sure that it's abundantly clear that this is a forum for Penn Hills residents. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going, order, please. We're going to take, ma'am, we're going to take a vote right now. Ma'am, if you have to be, ma'am, if I have to correct you again, I'm going to ask that you be removed. So we're going to take a vote for council to see whether or not we can let this comment go forward. And in the future, we need to make sure that it's abundantly clear that this is for Penn Hills residents only. I'm inclined to let the individual speak, but this has to be taken to a vote. Having said that, procedurally, do I need to make a full motion, or can I just put it right to a vote?
Just to ask people their opinion.
Okay. Scott, do you want to take a roll call, starting with myself?
Sure. On the question of allowing the speech to continue, Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey,
I have one question. How many speakers are we talking about?
There's
Two, it would be, or I can speak, that's fine.
One.
I can speak,
All right.
that's fine.
Okay, yes. I'm yes.
Ms. James is the one that signed up on the agenda, and we have three, but Mr. McCord, Mrs. Sapp, are you both okay with allowing the speaker to speak?
I'm okay with allowing Roman Talia's mom, parent to speak, as well as the speaker, yes.
Right now, the issue is on item 6B. Can we just get through that item right now?
So go ahead, Ms. James.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, council, I
the
appreciate it. So, correct me if I'm wrong, well, thank you for letting me speak first and foremost, I appreciate it. I'll make sure to have a Penn Hills resident speak instead, in the future. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, according to the Management Act, that when it comes, this is about Officer Robert Gowans. Now, we appreciate the fact that you took action the first time he was hired, and we understand that he was rehired through arbitration, right? So you can't technically fire him again. We are asking that while he is still actively under investigation for the death of Romare Talley when he was a Wilkinsburg police officer, that he be remanded to desk duty. I don't think that's too much to ask. We feel like he is a danger to the community and would not like to see what happened in Wilkinsburg repeat itself in the Penn Hills community. I'm also not sure of how aware the Penn Hills community is that he is currently patrolling the street. And Romare Talley was viciously killed. This wasn't a self-defense kind of situation. He was shot 7 times, shot once in the head. And, we fought really hard to find out the officer's name. We've advocated for this family for the last 2 years. We've shown up to Wilkinsburg council meetings, and, we got him put on desk duty there, where he resigned. Just really don't believe that it's safe. And I mean, obviously let the system do what the system does, but while he's under investigation, we're asking that he be remanded to desk duty until his investigation is over.
Thank you very,
Thank you.
thank you.
She's out of order.
Ma'am, excuse me, we're going to move to the next issue because I'm not sure it was clear. So the next issue that we will take roll call on is whether or not Mr. Talley's mom may be permitted to speak. So I'm going to,
It doesn't require a formal vote. It's just, is anybody opposed to hearing her?
okay, I understand. Is there anyone who's opposed to the mother of Romeo Talley speaking correctly? With there being no nay votes, ma'am, first let me say that I think I speak on behalf of the municipality of Penn Hills and on the behalf of council. You have our condolences.
Thank you. First, I wanted to start off by saying,
Just for our minutes, ma'am, could you just give your name and address?
my name is Latasha Talley, 1914 Lakeland Road,
Thank you.
Wilkinsburg. I'm really appalled and disgusted at the same time that y'all would hire Robert Gowans, just because of y'all knowing that this is still an open investigation. This man killed my son. If y'all were any type of department, I would have thought that y'all would at least did y'all homework, to at least find out what exactly transpired that night instead of hiring this man. Just because it's still pending or whatever, because they're sitting there dragging their feet on my son's case because they wanted to disappear, and I'm not going to let it. And I sat back for years and watched everything, and nothing still has happened. This man is still walking the streets. He's still patrolling the streets. This man came into my neighborhood. He only worked there for 5 months and completely tore my whole family's life upside down. He completely ruined my life because he took my son, who did not deserve to be killed. He is a thug. He is a cold-blooded killer. Now, if y'all can sleep with that at night, that's fine with me. I can't tell y'all what to do. But I will tell y'all, they didn't mention that. There was 3-4 departments there looking for a firearm that they claim, allegedly, my son had shot at Robert Gowans. They found the firearm 46 feet away from my son, and there was no bullet, there was no fingerprints on that gun that belonged to my son. They failed to add that in there. But then meanwhile, my son shot, and he shot back. That's what they told me. I don't understand how this gun mysteriously was found hours after the situation. And I want to add one more thing for the record. Check Officer Gowan's phone. His friend from the police department sent him a picture of my son laying there dead on the ground and sent it to his phone, and he still has that picture in his phone of my son laying there dead on the ground by himself. Now, I couldn't protect my son that night, but I will try my damnedest to protect these kids out here working up at the Penn Hills, because I will not sit back and watch with that man, that thug, dead to my son happen to another mother out here, because that hurts.
I'm sorry, I have to ask you to conclude.
I'm done. Just one more thing. when you news reporters and everybody want to talk about my son did not shoot at the police. I raised my son better than that. Put some respect on my son's name. And if you can't, then don't mention it. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council members had to vote to allow Tasha Crowley to speak, the mother of Roman Crowley. A vote, she wasn't even told about this happening today, that he was rehired. You had to ask her to include a mother whose son has been murdered.
Okay, ma'am, we've let her speak.
He should get fired. He should be fired.
Okay.
He should be charged with murder.
I'm going to ask for order.
None of you went to that meeting, and we know that y'all are responsible. That's why you got a job back. Now you have the police chief here as if we're chummy with him, when everyone in that police department, including Robert Galloway, is responsible for the death of Romer Talley, for the murder of Romer Talley. There's children at this meeting who do not feel safe. The people of Penn Hills do not feel safe here today. It will come for us. He will pay.
So you guys just want to make this go away? You want to bury it under procedural garbage that nobody believes?
We have to vote to allow a black mother to speak on the death of her son at a meeting in her community. People who stand behind her are attached to the police officers in the corner as if we are threats. When there are children here, there are people in the community here who are worried about their livelihood. What is your responsibility? How have you fulfilled that? You haven't. DA DePaula hasn't, as he failed to charge these officers. To charge those
Okay, ma'am, we've had public comment. We're going to move on.
They've had public comment, but they've heard nothing. What has changed? What's
In 1
changed
year
is
and out the other.
nothing that we're gonna do, nothing for the community.
I'm going to take one moment to respond to this because apparently the rules were not clear, and so I think you're entitled to response. Ma'am, I'm going to give a response. If you'd let me speak, I'll give you a response. To be clear, the process is, according to our home rule charter, this is a council meeting, and although we have, this is clearly, it's an emotional issue, there's much sadness around all of this, we get that. But mayor and council, we have no power to hire or fire anybody. This is a civil service issue. This matter has gone to arbitration. There has been a ruling, and at this point in time, we have no power. We're going to have to let, as someone said, let the process carry out. So I thank you so much for appearing tonight, and we have been flexible, and we've heard from you. We're hearing that, and we understand what the situation is. So thank you so much, and we're going to ask you to move on.
They're willing to do nothing. We don't want you to hear us. We want you to have been at the arbitration meeting when you could have changed.
It's always someone else's fault, isn't it? It's just
I'm going to ask,
shifting a responsibility from one entity to another when there's no accountability.
I'm going to ask, officers, may we please have a removal?
Why should this meeting continue?
He admits to murdering Romeo Talley in an interview.
He murdered Romer Talley.
He's a murderer!
So at this time, we're moving on to item 7A and item 7B, which actually is a transition, so to speak, because the Personnel Board is in some communities, they call it a Civil Service Commission. We call it a Personnel Board. And those are some of the issues that our Personnel Board will that they certify those sorts of issues in terms of testing and those sorts of things. So although pursuant to our charter, mayor and council do not hire and fire, and the personnel board has no power in that direction, this, in a sense, is a civil, we have civilians who are involved in that process. Having said that, we have 3 openings, and eventually we will be attempting to have the 3rd position filled. But right now, we need to have the hiring of more officers. And so at this point, it is my distinct pleasure I was checking into a point of procedure. So item 7A and item 7B, they are 2 individuals who are up for the appointments. We can take those 2 together since it's the same committee. May I get a motion for item 7A and 7B?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Sapp.
I make a motion that we approve items 7A and 7B.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Felix Catlin, 223 Datura Drive, Penn Hills, municipality of Penn Hills. I'd like to speak to the qualifications of Becky Finodiero. I have worked with her in several community development activities for a period of years, and I find her intuitions and her training would suit this office perfectly. I spoke, I believe, a year or so ago when her name came into nomination before. It was unfortunately delayed, so I'd like to reiterate my support for her nomination.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Any comment from council?
I have a comment.
Thank you, Councilman Getzey.
First of all, I don't think they should be voted on together. They should be voted on individually. Secondly, I feel that I didn't receive enough information on these candidates. I know the both of them, and it's nothing personal. But I feel the information that was provided didn't give me enough information to vote yes. And again, it's nothing personal. But I feel as a member of council, I should have been given more information about these folks, their background, their connections, and why they are running for this office. So, nothing personal.
Any further comment from council?
May I respond to Mr. Getzey real quick? Mr. Getzey, in the communities and school districts that I represent, where they put motions together, like we just did A and B, you can vote yes as to A and no as to B, no as to A, yes as to B, as you see fit.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Any further comment from council? I would like to say that I know Rebecca Finodiero personally and professionally. I won't go into her resume because, contrary to some of the prior statements, this is the age of technology. Information was provided on these individuals. These are people who are volunteering to do this. We should not be putting a burden on them. The days of paper resumes are over. These are 2 professionals who are, if they are qualified according to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, that's good enough for me. But having said that, information was given to council. Information is readily available in this day and age of technology. Having said that, I can tell you that, for example, I have a case right now with Attorney Finoletto, and we are adversaries in the courtroom. And much to her credit, there was a proceeding where my client had not yet had standing, and the question was whether or not I was permitted in the courtroom. And I was so impressed that she was the first person to stand up to say that I should be permitted into the courtroom, because otherwise my client would be at a disadvantage. It's one thing to be ethical when everybody's on the same side, but I think it's a true mark of character when your adversary stands up for you. In terms of Attorney Reese, I will not go into his qualifications either. Suffice it to, because I've already done that, but suffice it to say that I think the true mark of someone's character is not how they behave when they know someone's watching, but how they behave when they don't know they're being watched. As an attorney, I've been in the courtroom at the same time that Mr. Reese was there. He had no way of knowing that I was watching him. Every single time I've seen him in the courtroom, or when I've seen him out in public in patronizing businesses here in Penn Hills, he is always the consummate professional and a gentleman. Some of you may know that he is a former NFL football player. He is a business owner, an employer, a homeowner. I'm proud that both of these individuals are our neighbors, and I think that we are fortunate to have them. Having said that, when the motion comes, I think you know how I'll vote. Roll call.
On items 7A and B, Counselor Sapp,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Resounding yes.
Counselor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey.
No.
Items 7A and 7B approved. Congratulations.
Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Mayor, can you maybe ask them both to stand up so that the public may see them?
And shall we step down and congratulate them? Can we get a picture here?
What? Okay. Remember it, Jesse.
Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Al Reese and Attorney Rebecca Finoletto, congratulations and welcome aboard. Thank you so much, Attorney. With the weather out there, we are kind of moving along rather quickly, and typically we are. We're going to do the same thing with the next appointments. And again, as the solicitor said, you can vote yes as to one item and no as to the other. That's certainly your prerogative. May I get a motion for items 7C, D, E, and F?
Mayor, I'd
Yes.
like to move council approval of items 7C, D, E, and F.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment?
Felix Catlin again, 223 Detour Drive. The only worry I have with this is the terms don't match up. So I'm not really sure. I'd like to ask the solicitor, does that have any impact on the ability to clump these nominations?
Yes. Under the charter, the terms are supposed to be staggered so that everybody's not coming off at once. That's why you see that Mr. 1 year less than the other two. The Reverend Kincaid has a different term because he's filling an unexpired term. Yep.
Any further public comment? Any comment from council?
I have a comment.
Yes, Councilman Getzey.
My comment will be pretty much the comment I made earlier. When the original draft proposal was, minutes were put out, not minutes, agenda was put out, there were 2 names, 3 were added without any information that I received about these people, their qualifications, and based on the fact that I don't know much about them, I don't know what their qualifications are, and I didn't have the opportunity to look at them or do that, I will not be voting for them.
Just to respond to that briefly, sorry, any further comment from council?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Scott.
is Joe McAndrew in the audience this evening?
He is.
Okay, okay, hello, hi. Okay, and one other comment I'd like to say is, I don't know how that board works internally, but I'd like to see Liza King as the chairperson. Just my statement. No response needed.
Any further comment from council? So that board is a 5-member board. 2 members are up for reappointment. That left 2 other seats open. Mr. Ronald Sapp, who has served us very well. We are so thankful for his service, and also for the service of Mr. Brent Rambo. Mr. Sapp has submitted his letter of resignation, and Mr. Rambo did not seek reappointment. We had 2 Personnel Board and the Planning Commission. They had to be done now because we need to hire the police officers and because there's a vote coming up on Thursday. There are many other vacancies, and we will publish for those, and we will ask people to come forward with requests to be appointed. So at that point, so right now the reappointment is for Mr. Jerry Chipinelli and Ms. Liza King. If you don't know who they are, I mean, they are members who have served very well on this particular commission for years. Dr. Kincaid is also a very well-known and respected member of our community, and information was put out about each and every one of these candidates. Dr. Kincaid could not be here tonight. He called earlier. Mr. McAndrews is in the audience tonight. He is with us, and we are so very, very lucky to have all of these very well-qualified individuals with us. Dr. Kincaid is a reverend in our community, and we have information about them. Anybody that wants to go into detail, we can, but we're not going to read their resumes. Mr. McAndrew is very well-versed in members in Harrisburg, and that's one of the things that we need to do is we're working with federal, state, and county officials because we cannot be an island. And so it's so wonderful to see us branch out in those areas. And Mr. McAndrew has relationships and is very well known in Harrisburg as well. So hopefully this, not hopefully, I'm sure that we will be very well served by each of these individuals. Having said that, roll call, please.
On item C, D, E, and F, Mayor Calabrese,
Yes on all items.
Counselor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey,
No on all items.
Counselor Sapp,
No on item 7C.
Deputy Mayor Pecora.
Yes on all of them.
Motion approved.
Thank you so much,
Congratulations.
and congratulations. Although each item is important, we recognize this with the weather out there. For those of you who have been appointed this evening, and we know your families are here, we won't be offended if you leave while we move on with the rest of the agenda. But we think you're certainly welcome to stay, but we know the weather's getting bad out there. And once again, we thank you so much for your service. May I get a motion for item 8A?
Mayor,
Yes, Counsel Sapp.
I make a motion that we receive and approve item 8A, approval of the resolution of 2022-01, a resolution approving a minor amendment to the Community Development Block Grant budget for FY 2018-2020.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment? Any comment from council?
Yes, I was wondering if Chris could just allude to this a little bit, just to give clarity.
Sure, I knew that you would. There's been a lot of work going on at the William McKinley Center. Some of it was planned. We have some accessibility, uniform federal accessibility standard improvements going on there, putting in handrails, widening of doorways, things like that. And that's some ongoing projects that we've had in all of our community centers and buildings that receive CDBG funds. Then we also, there was some lights out in the gym, light bulbs out in the gym and in the parking lot, and those require a lift, you know, the rental of a lift. So I authorized Three Rivers Electric, our municipal electrician, to go there and put in LED lighting. So that was somewhat more expensive than it might have been just changing bulbs, but it seemed that it was a good opportunity to do that. And then we were surprised this fall that we'd had a sinkhole in the parking lot for some time, and we hired State Pipe, who's we already have a contract with, to TV the line and make repairs. And if you're familiar with the William McKinley Center, the sewer line did not go to 9th or 7th Street. It actually went 500 feet across the soccer field. So when I went out there to take pictures after they were done, I could see the dirt mounds. There were 4 of them in one of the parking lots. So there were 4 or 5 repairs, and the total cost of that was $26,000. Now this was an emergency repair to their sewer system. So another part of that story is that in January of last year, when William McKinley was rolling along and we had funding for projects, Mayor and Council transferred funds from the William McKinley Center budget to single-family rehab, so we could do more rehabs and help more homeowners. So in some ways, I feel like this is sort of, yes, we are doing a budget amendment to transfer funds into the William
William McKinley Center fund, but it's also money that, had we not done that transfer last year, we may not have had to do this, and also we had this emergency repair. So hopefully that, we're getting William McKinley back on track, moving along, and this was something that was needed. In addition, you may recall that you authorized the approval of the huge job that we did for the storm sewer at the rear of the building. Well, while they were digging this 13-foot hole to fix the sanitary sewer, we believe they found a cast iron pipe coming out of the other side of the basement. So we're hoping that the stormwater issues that plagued this building for many years, that we've had them resolved. So that's what this budget amendment does. And then if you're concerned that I'm taking funding, or I'm recommending that funding come from the multipurpose center and the Lincoln Park Community Center, this is, when you see fiscal year, it's fiscal year 18, 19, and 20 money. Multipurpose center and Lincoln Park Community Center still have $40,000 each combined in 20 and 21 money. So this is really, it won't affect any projects at those buildings. And I hope that answers all your questions.
You already knew, you were prepared for that, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah, good, yes, it did. I'd just like to say to that, I understand that this was really like an emergency situation at the William McKinley Center, but it's just like we keep putting these expensive Band-Aids on this building. I'll be so glad when we figure out something to actually do with it, because it's just wasting money. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for the explanation, Chris.
Well, just to be clear, that's not coming out of our general budget, isn't that correct?
That's correct. This is all CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Funds, and the Community Development Block Grant Funds pay for my salary as well as the engineer's work, so no municipal tax dollars went into this job. But as the Councilman Sapp mentioned, this building, as these buildings get older, they have a lot of maintenance and a lot of repairs, and that will be something that you'll have to address in the future, I believe.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Pecora?
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Getzey?
Yes.
Councilor Sapp?
Yes.
Resolution 22-1 approved.
May I get a motion for item 8B?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-2, a resolution awarding the Northmont Stream Restoration Project to All-Star Ecology LLC in the amount of $68,411.65.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Getzey. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Getzey?
Yes.
Councilor Sapp?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora?
Yes.
Resolution 22-2 approved.
I'd just like to say, for the benefit of those in the audience, I would like to point out, we have a court reporter here. So when it sounds like we're being overly formal, we're not. We're addressing each other by name because we all know who we are. But while that record is being made, when someone makes the motion, I'll call them by name, and when they do the second, I'll respond by name as well. And that's really for the benefit of the record. We're not trying to be overly formal. May I get a motion for item 8C?
Mayor, I'll make the motion.
Yes, Councilwoman Sapp.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-3, awarding the Penn Hills Orange Street Sewer Line contract to BLD Services LLC in the amount of $398,300.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Fascio. Any public comment? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilor Fascio?
Yes.
Councilman Getzey?
Yes.
Councilor Sapp?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora?
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
Resolution 22-3 approved.
May I get a motion for item 8D?
Mayor,
Yes, Counselor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-4, granting conditional use of the Penn Hills Charter School of Entrepreneurship for the construction of a second-floor addition and expanded parking areas.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Sapp. Any comment from the public?
Good evening. I'm Tom Swisher with Farringer McCarty Gray. We're the civil engineer on the project. Myself, Dr. Wayne Jones, and Jason Siegel are here to answer any questions if anything arises.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? I can tell you that I've met with individuals from the charter school, including these fine gentlemen here, and particularly in person with Mr. Jones, and I just am impressed every single time. And we're lucky to have you here in Penn Hills. Thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Councilman Getzey,
Yes.
Counselor Sapp,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Counselor Fascio.
Yes.
Resolution 22-4 approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item number 8E?
Mayor, make a motion.
Thank you, Counselor Sapp.
I make a motion that we approve item 8E, approving resolution of 2022-5, approving a change order number 2 with State Pipe Services in the amount of $45,000 for 5 additional sewer repairs.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Getzey. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Counselor Sapp,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Counselor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey.
Yes.
Resolution 22-5 approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item 8F?
Mayor,
Yes, Counselor Fascio.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of Resolution 2022-6, ratifying emergency repair at the Plum Creek UV building in the amount of $32,632.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pecora. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Pecora,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Counselor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Getzey.
Yes.
Counselor Sapp.
Yes.
Resolution 22-6 approved.
Moving to item 9, report from mayor and council. So traditionally, we start with the deputy mayor and then go alphabetically. Deputy Mayor Pecora, do you have any reports?
Yes, I just want to thank our first responders for a great job for what they did. A tragic fire that we had this week at the Rhode Island Arms Apartments. And I also want to thank our road department for handling the recent snowstorm rather well. Penn Hills has always done a great job with their roads. They're very good. And I just want to stress again, I know I say this a lot, COVID is not over. Please be safe and, take care because it's bad. A lot of people passing away. Penn Hills has had a lot of cases recently. I'd like to see everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fascio.
No, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Getzey.
Yes, I have some comment. I voted, as you know, previously against the appointment of the committee. Nothing personal, but I feel that I didn't get the information, and I looked into certain things, and I didn't get a good answer on procedural methods to do this, and I didn't feel that I could vote for people who I didn't know anything about, their relationships, their whatever, and that's why I didn't vote. Nothing personal against the people. It's just a procedural thing, but I think it's important.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sapp.
Yes, I have some comments I'd like to make. First, I want to address the issue of this evening. I didn't realize that there were going to be any representatives here on behalf of Mr. Romare Towley. So first and foremost, I don't believe myself or mayor and council knew that we were going to have that representation here this evening until minutes prior to our meeting. So I wish that we would have been informed. We would have been better prepared to address Mr. Romare Towley's family. That's number one. Number two, I myself, along with, I'm sure I can speak on behalf of mayor and council, we definitely give our condolences to Romare Towley's mother. We are very empathetic and sympathetic to what has happened. There are 3 women here, and we are mothers, and there are 2 men, and I know one of them is a father. So we definitely feel the pain of Romare Towley's mother. And then I'm so very glad that so many people were here, and then they were concerned about the issue of Penn Hills and the safety of Penn Hills and our residents here. So I would like to clarify a few things. And number one, I'd like to say that the manager, Scott Andrechak, he does do the hiring and the firing of our police officers. However, it is with the consent of mayor and council. So I'd like to make that clear. 2, Officer Gowans, he certainly can be terminated the day after his probation period ends. So I'd like to make that public announcement, because I never want our residents to think that we don't care or we're not paying attention to what's going on. We live here. We are vested here in Penn Hills. We are concerned about everyone's safety. We don't want to see any of our children not make it home, or our husbands, uncles, or grandchildren. So we are very concerned. And so it takes the public to speak. Third, I like to say we are very sympathetic and empathetic to those who lost their homes and everything in their homes with the tragic fire. However, something good came out of that. There was a miracle, and that is that there were no lives lost. So we are very thankful for that. Material things can be replaced, but your life can't. So our heart and our prayers go out to those people who were victims of the fire. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor, I didn't want to interrupt you while you were speaking, but I didn't hear what you said. You said item number 1 and then something about mayor and council.
Number 1 about mayor and council. So I talked about Romare Towley's.
I'm sorry. No, I heard that part. I didn't hear.
I talked about Romare Towley's family being here, and that we were all sympathetic and empathetic.
But I thought you said something about us having to do with the hiring and firing.
Oh, I said that the manager does the hiring and firing of our police officers with the consent of mayor and council, that he does the actual hiring and firing.
Yeah, I just want to correct that with all due respect. We consent on the heads of departments and directors. We have nothing to do with the hiring, zero, with the hiring and firing of police officers. That is bargained for, that's union. We are specifically prohibited from getting involved in any hiring and firing whatsoever. So I'm sure that maybe there was a little misunderstanding with that. We don't consent to anything. We have no power to do that. So although we have input with the heads of departments or directors of departments, we do not have anything to do with the hiring and firing of police officers.
Mayor, maybe we should just let Scott do that, not that we're going back and forth with one another, but it just needs to be made clear to the public, because a lot of that is going out from more than one voice, and it just needs to be one voice and made clear to our residents so that they or that they have the right information. So Scott, we hear you all the time say that you hire and fire our police officers with the consent of mayor and council. So maybe you want to just clear that up for all of us. It is written, but maybe you can just go ahead and give a verbal tonight.
The only, what I would direct everyone to look at is the home rule charter. And in the charter, the manager's given the authority to hire and terminate employees. The charter also says that when it comes to appointment of a department head, such as a police chief or a planning director or a public works director, that the mayor and council have to consent to that appointment. So the mayor my understanding at least is that the mayor and council consent to department head appointments.
So then, true or false, mayor and council do not consent to the hiring or firing of a specific police officer? Is that
Not in the charter.
not in
No.
practice either?
No, it's not in the charter. The manager's given the ability to make hiring, firing decisions, except for hiring a director, which council has to consent to that.
So then, yes or no, I'm correct. Mayor and council do not have to consent. We do not consent.
Mayor and council do not hire and fire individual police officers.
Nor do we consent to the hiring or firing of individual police officers, correct?
There's no process for that.
So that's a correct, right?
That would be correct.
Okay, thank you.
May I say something? I think the mayor and councilman staff handled a difficult situation very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And on that note, and since this is our first formal meeting, I do want to be abundantly clear as we move forward. I just felt that tonight, with the emotional issue it was, and since we were not given notice, it would have been probably run smoother had we been given notice of what was to occur here. Nonetheless, moving forward, I think we need to take steps to be abundantly clear who can speak and what the procedure is. We have 2 meetings per month. One is the public voting meeting, and this really does not lend itself to a give and take. It's not to be an exchange. When we have our workshops, that is an exchange. So although it may appear that we may be avoiding issues, or it may appear that we don't want to answer questions, this is not the forum for that sort of exchange. So I want to be clear, going into this new year, we really will follow those rules. And again, as I said earlier, we do that for not only the decorum of the chamber, but because that's really the way the meeting will run smoother. So although it may sound like we're very formal up here, because in reality, we all are neighbors and you are our neighbors, and we're not that formal with each other. But here in this setting, where we are making a record, and because of the decorum of the chamber, we really need to, and we will going forward, we will follow procedure. I think much was said about the event, and I said a lot in the beginning of this meeting about the fire that occurred this weekend. And I'm very, very proud of the way the system really did work. We did have a meeting earlier tonight about the sewer system. We just have so many really good things coming down the pike, so I hope you will continue to join us at these meetings. A lot of good things are coming forward. We have a lot of openings for appointments, and if you want to come forward, and we will publish that, what the openings are, and then we'll choose from there. But we did have to do these 2 this evening, as I said. I would like to congratulate our new chief, and I would like to once again congratulate all the new appointments, and formally congratulate our newest member, Councilor Fascio, and I am so excited for all of the really good things we have coming down the pike. With that said, this meeting is adjourned.
Mayor, can I add one thing? It's adjourned, but I'm glad you're ending the meeting on a happy note. And I just want to note that Mrs. Strayer, Sherry Strayer, is not here tonight, and I want to tell everybody that Mackenzie Ann Strayer was born over the weekend, and everybody is happy and healthy. And it's a very exciting time for us. Thank you. Very exciting time for our
Thank you so
department.
much. Have a good night, everyone.